Hello there, Geeks and Gamers. This is a banner day for those of us who are fans of fast-paced boomer shooters. You know why? Because Quake, the original Quake, Quake 1, id Software's Quake from 1996, is back in remastered format for not just PC, not just Steam with a free upgrade if you have the original game on Steam, but every single console, including Xbox One, Xbox Series, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and even the Nintendo Switch in remastered form with cross-play co-op, 4-player split screen, all sorts of graphical enhancements, granted running on the original engine, and not one but 2 original expansion packs, and not one but 2 new expansion packs that were both made by Machine Games, who are the developers of the rebooted Wolfenstein franchise. This is particularly special to me because if you guys did watch the video that I made on Geeks and Gamers about 6 months ago that was a retrospective of the Quake franchise, I did mention that if you search the word Quake, Quake, on any console platform, be it Xbox, PlayStation, or Nintendo, you get 0 results. Nothing even comes up, even though every single one of those companies have had Quake games released on their platforms. You can't buy any of their old legacy backwards compatible games, not Quake 2 on PlayStation 1 through PS3, not Quake Enemy Territory on Xbox 360 or Quake 4 on Xbox 360, not the N64 version of Quake 1 on Nintendo Switch. Nothing comes up when you search that. Today, though, that has changed because id Software at QuakeCon just announced a Quake Remaster that's been developed by Night Dive Studios, who did the remasters of Doom 64, as well as the recent remaster of Shadow Man, which is an N64 game that I never played. I remember reading about it in like EGM back in the day, but I don't know, never into Shadow Man, but maybe it's good, because apparently Night Dive's alright. They just hot dropped, as in announced and dropped, the original Quake game, Quake 1, the Lovecraftian Quake, the best Quake campaign on all platforms for about $10 US. It's $13 here. I even personally consumed this product like Movie Bob at an all-you-can-eat buffet. Like, it was unbelievable that this happened, so I had to support it, and I bought it on Switch, PlayStation, and Xbox. Because, having owned the Steam version of Quake, I actually got the upgrade on Steam for free, which is a pretty cool thing that Bethesda/Microsoft/id allowed everybody to do. So what can we really expect from this remake? I played through all 3 of the console versions, and I can say that it is a great port. It runs spectacularly well. It's got 120 FPS modes on both Xbox Series and PlayStation 5, and it looks great running at 120 FPS on console. Sadly, I can't show you in this footage because that like 60 frames a second is the highest that YouTube can run, so, you know, is what it is. But it looks great. It looks absolutely fantastic. And if you do have a 120 hertz TV, particularly one with variable refresh rate, I strongly recommend playing it in those modes. One thing that was quite surprising and nice is there are a lot more granular graphics settings than you generally see in console games, so you can turn on or off motion blur, ambient occlusion, texture smoothing. There's even an FOV slider, so you can bump that up to 120, the Chad FOV, and see more of the screen, more of your weapon, and just get a better field of view. Though there is a bit of a fisheye effect, so if you don't want your first-person shooter to look like that stairway fight scene from The Protector with Tony Jaa, maybe keep it at around 100, maybe 95, and that should be pretty good. But it's just nice to see those options in a console game. Granted, it's a console port of a game that is probably the most PC-ass PC game to ever exist, but very, very cool to see. I can honestly give this a hard recommend to anyone who likes first-person shooters at all, but particularly if you like really fast first-person shooters and you've never played Quake before, because honestly, the level design in this game is a real treat. If you want to hear a lot more about the details of the game itself, you can watch my retrospective video that I'll link in the description. It was on Geeks and Gamers about 6 months ago, and the stuff I say about it being impossible for you to hear the original Nine Inch Nails soundtrack in the game is no longer true because it's just there. It's on every console. It's on PC. You don't have to hack it in. You don't have to do any workarounds. It's just Trent Reznor's score for the original Quake in the game for a game that you can get on any platform that you own for $10. Now, if you like your first-person shooters a bit more modern, like with aim-down sights and crouching behind cover all the time, then this might not be your speed. I understand that. I'm not saying that you're a bad person if you don't like Quake, but if you like, say, Doom 2016 or Doom Eternal and are into that sort of super fast pace, like run through this maze-like level and solve these puzzles while blasting the hell out of all sorts of demons, honestly, like, you can't go wrong with Quake. I think it's really awesome that Bethesda and Microsoft did this. It's even cooler that Microsoft released it on both PlayStation 4 and 5 as well as Switch, because, I mean, honestly, they didn't have to. They could just say Game Pass day one right now, which is true, by the way. If you have Xbox Game Pass, you can just download it on Game Pass. But it's on PlayStation 4, 5, and Switch with gyro controls there, which for a game that requires as much precision aiming as Quake, the gyro controls in the PS5 and Switch versions that I was playing around with actually helped quite a bit. So honestly, as much as I want to give respect to Microsoft on this thing, if you've got all the consoles or you have a PlayStation, an Xbox, and a Switch, I'd actually kind of recommend getting it on PlayStation or Switch if possible, because the gyro controls do add a little bit of extra tactility to the controls. You have a bit more precision that way. The visuals on the Switch version are actually pretty solid. Unlike the Doom 2016 port on Switch, it runs spectacularly well. Like, it's a rock solid 60 FPS, 1080p in docked mode. It looks pretty good in handheld mode as well. I think that Quake just stole the crown of the best ever handheld first-person shooter from Killzone Mercenary and Doom 2016 on Switch before it. But I don't know. I guess I'll end it there. But this is a good day to be a fan of first-person shooters, a good week to be a fan of first-person shooters, because the Nendoroid Doomslayer came out, and you know, he's really cute. Anyways, take it easy, guys, and if you'd like to hear more from me, I make videos on my own channel as well. It's MarcTheCyborg. It's linked on the description, and after EFAP 150 this weekend, you can watch my video that I made on The Last of Us Part 2 and Days Gone. I won't go into too many details about it here, but the title of it is Days Gone is Good, The Last of Us Part 2 is Not. And I think that I back up that thesis fairly well. So sub to my channel if you want to check that out. I also do a podcast. And otherwise, you'll see me here from time to time pop in on streams and to make little news videos like this about topics that I'm extremely passionate about. And one thing I can tell you for sure is that I am extremely passionate about Quake. Play Quake, guys. It's a really great game. Take it easy.